Thank you. It's great to be here. Let's start with a famous dictum, know thyself. But what does that truly mean? There are different kinds of knowing. You can know yourself conceptually, analyze your past, explore your history, as you might do in psychoanalysis. That can be helpful, even interesting, for years. It can reveal where you're trapped, what your obstacles are. But it's not the deeper knowing that the ancient Greeks meant. That deeper knowing is recognizing yourself as the aware presence, the space in which conceptualization doesn't even exist. That is the essence of who you are. And that brings me to my own story of self-discovery, a story that proves it truly does get greater later. You see, a friend of mine, you might have heard of him, Chris Rock, once called me the most late-blooming mofo he'd ever met. Some might consider that snide. Me? I revel in it. I'm 55, curvy, and standing before you in these very high heels as living proof that you can bloom at any age. We exist in two dimensions. There's the person, the physical body, the psychological form, your history, your future. As a person, you're on that speeding train of time, undoubtedly being consumed by the fire of time. But then there's the deeper you, the essence, which is pure awareness, pure consciousness. It's not yours, you are a manifestation of it. It's the ray emanating from the source, connecting you to the totality of all life. This is realized through non-conceptual knowing, through presence. When you realize this, that you exist as a person but you are the presence, that is the end of ego. My own journey to this realization wasn't easy. At 38, I was a high-flying fashion advertising executive, jet-setting to fashion shows, receiving free designer clothes, and double-kissing my way across the globe. I was living what most people considered a dream life. It was everything I ever wanted it to be. And then, one day, I realized I was only pretending to be happy. But I couldn't just blow up my seemingly good life in my prime earning years, right? Wrong. Which leads me to the lessons my mama, Lolly, taught me. And Lolly's number one lesson was, don't settle. Don't settle. Now, I'm aware that my well-paying, glamorous career is not exactly the humdrum I hate my job stereotype that most people equate with settling. But it was a settle for me. Because when I actually did quit my job at 38, it was with the intention that every day be a great adventure. Now, sometimes it was a very scary adventure, like being broke from 40 to 45. But even still, I wouldn't trade that for the safe and settled version, because if I had, I wouldn't be here with y'all today. So, you know how when you buck the system and go against the status quo, it makes people really uncomfortable? Invariably, people will ask, where do you get your confidence? Now, some mean it as a compliment, but very often it's shady, and it's a silent judgment. And to those people, I respond with a quote from the Brooklyn poet, Jay-Z, she get it from her mama. I am she. And my mama is the epitome of a grown-ass woman, someone who has always been very comfortable in her own skin. In 1965, my mom was 37 years old, already had one child, my big brother Jerry, and she married my dad. But she kept her maiden name. Then she had my sister, Stephanie, and me back to back. She continued to work, refusing to be beholden to my dad for money. My mom was the only woman in our neighborhood who cooked just once a week, a Sunday dinner extravaganza, but that was it. She cooked one day a week. She was just amazing. And she had this ability to talk to her children about real life, about the virtues of going your own way. Which is why I believe today, at the age of 94, and a recent widow, my mom is still carving out ways to find, determine, and define her own version of happiness. She cooks for herself, maintains her home exactly as she sees fit, and enjoys champagne and R-rated films. My mom has managed to maintain her glamour, her sex appeal, her independence. And I really hope some of that rubs off on me. Recently, I've been thinking about one of the best lessons my mom ever taught me, which is the literal beauty in aging. Now, we all know that black don't crack, right? Okay, black don't crack. So, at 50, my mom could have easily passed for 35. But unlike those women who were coy about their age, my mom was always proud of hers. As a matter of fact, she believed, you may not tell your age, but your hands and your neck will. Her message: make peace with aging or prepare for a wardrobe full of gloves and turtlenecks. It's about embracing each stage of life fully, authentically, without settling for someone else's idea of who you should be. I had to learn this the hard way. For a while, I created a persona, Bitcha Bevy, that I thought would help me succeed in fashion. I thought being snarky was a good career move. It wasn't. I even convinced myself I looked good in brown. I don't. That persona brought a certain kind of power, and I enjoyed it for a time. You can make a lot of money being a bitch, especially in fashion. But it was also incredibly lonely and isolating. I had to ask myself, who am I at my core? How am I being perceived? How would I like to be perceived? At my core, I'm about authentic connection, curiosity, adventure, kindness, big dreams. Bitcha Bevy was a far cry from that. So, I let little brown Bevy, the nerdy, curious, adventurous me, out to play. I joined museums, traveled the world to see architecture, learned to be alone without being lonely. My spirit shifted. I became a better person. And that is all thanks to presence. Now I was able to stand before you with an open heart, nothing to prove. I'm vibrant and boisterous, okay, loud, with a pep in my high-heeled, red-bottom step, and a tell-it-like-it-is approach, always dosed with a ladle of love. One tool that helped me cultivate this presence is what I call take a note, give a note. When you see someone excelling in an area where you feel you should be, take a note. Ask yourself, is it something I really want? Is that person perhaps better suited? Is the universe conspiring for me in a different way? Be honest. Then, take a deep breath and say, their wins have nothing to do with my worthiness. Next, give a note. Go on social media and congratulate them. Or, better yet, pick up the phone like it's the 20th century and offer genuine kudos. Extending that grace makes you feel better, look better, it's better than Botox, I believe. It took me 55 years to get here. So, Chris Rock, you were right, I am a late bloomer. But that's okay, because I'm right on time. I'm living proof that you can find yourself, embrace your authenticity, and truly bloom at any age. Remember, the journey to self-discovery is a lifelong one. Embrace the present moment, shed the personas that don't serve you, and never, ever settle. Thank you.